guys, this is a tutorial with the motor in my little home studio. Gonna share with you some cool tips and tricks on Logic Pro X 10.5. So this Logic comes with an amazing new workspace, pretty much similar to Ableton Live. It's a mix in between Ableton Live and I would say Bitwig kind of thing, but Logic way. So really interesting. Let's watch this, how I do my grid and my synths or my drums and build it up with these new features in Logic. See you right now. Cheers. Alright, so a little tutorial, nice and easy on these new features, or one of the new features on Logic 10.5. This is amazing, really something we were waiting for so long, and now we got at least and finally what we wanted. Something amazing. These tools are amazing. So let me show you what I've done. This is kick, bass and drums and some percussions and some effects and stuff I'll describe in details, and I'll show you I've done that. So this is the result. So this is the first thing that I've done, and I'm gonna actually show you how I did those two lines here. That's what I'm talking about today. And thanks actually very much to my dear brother Samit, would actually ask me to present this tutorial, and I'll be coming step by step, regularly speaking, once every 15 days with some tutorials on Logic, on Ableton Live, on productions, either Psytrance and other genres that I do as well. So yep, let's tune in guys, let's go for it. So that's the first line that I did, this first sequence. All right, that's what I'll show you. Then the second sequence, so them together working. And all together again. So what I did, I had to bounce everything like the drums and the kick and the bass wise, because I'm using a lot of plugins, quite heavy plugin, heavy duty really. Some are Acoustica, some are UAD, some other plugin alliance and stuff. So it's like taking a lot of CPU, and while recording it wouldn't go. All right, so I'm going to reverse engineer and show you step by step, so it's not too long and you guys can watch what I've done, and hopefully for those who has Logic, you can just replicate this kind of stuff. So what I did, I created a new instrument, so you know, Alt Option N generally speaking, and I create a new software instrument. So yet unfortunately we do not have, when we look in here, we do not have this drum designer the way I want it to be. We have the drum kit designer, which in that case will open the drums, the drum machine, right? More the acoustic drum machine. So anyway, for now, that's what I do. I open this channel, and yes, here in the instrument, I will choose my drum designer, which is gonna be here at the end of all the Logic plugins, basically. So that's how it's shown here. So this drum designer is actually, if you want to compare it to something you well known, is you already know, that would be like the drum rack. It is quite similar in lots of ways, but then we have a lot of different types of informations and way we can work with. So let me show you. So that's how it works. Basically, it opens the drum rack, and actually it's like an auxiliary channel working with plugins, and then it proposes to you like different channel with all the instruments you're going to use with the pads, right? So let me get rid of this one. We do not need this one because we have the one that I opened. Let me loop around this. Let me do that. All right, so you can check what I'm doing. Yeah, so basically what happened, I opened like you can do that, open a pattern region instead of a MIDI region. So the pattern region is also something very cool, actually. It's also part of the new feature. So look at that. So it's already set with a pattern that I've done, right? So when you open a new pattern, that should be like this. If I do a new one here, you see it opened this way, right? So you have this step sequencer, It has the sound that I have imported already in my MIDI drum designer. So let us go into the drum designer and let's check what I've done. So let's open the drum designer first, right? So here we go. So you see I've imported lots of sounds already. So the way I did it, I did something very, very simple, right? So let me show you. So you have all this bunch of pads you can work with. So let's say I just open basically the logic loop because I wanted to do something quite fast and creative and something intuitive and not to overthink what I was doing. So I just went into electro house at first, listened to some drum loops. I was like, ah, okay, cool, I like this one, pretty nice. So just import it here on one pad and boom, done. So I have it here with all this information. You have the entire looping here, and I can either, well, you see, it's like you can move the beginning of the loop basically, and you can select any of those instruments or any of those shots here, those one shot. Here, this is the looping zone, so I don't need the looping zone right now, so I'm just gonna unloop it for now. I'm not gonna get in depth in all the parameters. I'll do that step by step on other tutorials. So yeah, let's imagine I could definitely choose one of these sounds, and now this sound is a E3, right? So if I go on my keyboard and I play the E3, that's gonna be playing this one, right? So, but because I have a lot of effects on it, let me bring this. Bypass those plugins. So you see that's kind of a clap thing, you know. So I could select any of the sound and play around, and that would be the sound that will be playing, right, at one shot. So I can have that in one shot, or I can have it slice, and then I can move the slice around. So it's giving me this sound. I could move my slice, and move around and say I want those 2 bits of sound. So that's really, really interesting because you can really move around and change what you want to play, where you want to play. Okay, so pretty nice. So let's go back into my classic where I want the sound to be. I could play it forward or backward, basically in reverse. So if I come here, let's say I'm going to use this sound. So that's an E3, but I could say, all right, reverse. So I'm reversing the sound, or I can have it looped. Let's open the loop here. I can change the speed, for instance, if I change the beats here, the speed for 1/4. So start to have some really cool designs of sound. Then if I go to 1/8, yeah, it starts to really dig some really cool stuff. So let's zoom out. So it slows down the sound for the amount of time that I ask according to the tempo, right? So it follows the tempo of Logic, and then according to the tempo, it will follow the tempo and then speed it down for 1/8 values, right? So I can have it reverse. I can have it play alternate. When I play, it goes one way and then back to the other way. Then I can alternate from forward. Alright, so pretty cool actually, really cool stuff. So let's back to 1.5. So that's the normal tempo. Anyway, I don't want to loop right now, I just wanted to show you a bit. So basically it's what I did. I imported lots of sound, just like it took me maybe 10 minutes to check sounds and decide and say, okay, what's going on here? Alright, I like some kind of those percussion here eventually. Let's see. So that would be F3. Alright, so maybe I want just this little percussion here, just this one, you know, and then I can decide to go in the sampler. So you have the detail of what's going on here. I can boost the volume, I can move the filters, I can now use individual samplers, because now what happened is every pad that I open when I import a loop or a sound opens a sampler basically. So you have either samplers or you can have also Logic instrument within a pad. So that will be for another tutorial anyway. So that's very cool because now I got my F3 here playing, I can move the panoramic, I can change the pitch, I can actually set let's say, all right, LFO1 onto the pitch eventually. Yeah, let's go to LFO1. I can have it unipolar. All right, so you see, you can really transform your sound, work with your sound, and do something really creative and really fun. I mean, there is a ton of information here that you can check. You have your envelope, 3 envelope, different envelope. I really like what they did, and every envelope has a choice of another 4 envelope style envelope basically. So you have more parameters. You have a hold here on this one. I can have, let's say, let's fix the LFO2 on to the filter. So let's go for LFO2, and target would be then the filter cutoff. Let's do that, and let's go here, unipolar. Some drive. Oh, cool. I could have the amount, the pitch envelope, and again on the cutoff. Very cool psychedelically the sound that can be used for transitions, and you know, we could play also with the panoramic eventually, why not? So let's use LFO1 onto the pan. Yeah, here all right, so this is what I've done, right? Quite fast. I didn't went too far in my selections and my settings because I really wanted to go into something very intuitive again and not waste too much time and just be with the flow, with the first idea that I had. So here it goes. So I have imported many sounds, like 16 basically, and some hi-hats, some drums. I change all the icons. That's a very cool thing you can do, changing your icons. They have a bunch of icons that are really nice. And then all right, so I just wanted to show you a bit around quickly how it works. So you got that, you import any sample, and I could go into my sample library and import as easy as that, right? So the way I imported loops here or individual sound, I could go into my library, get some samples, right? Let me do that. Get into my library here and get some samples, and say, let's say some claps. I'm importing some claps. Could just take a bunch of them and just bring them here, and here you go. They're all in here, right? And they all have been assigned a sampler basically. Yeah, so you can see they all have their own sampler now, so you can basically work with them, check the sound, work on the sound, shorten up the sound, work on these parameters, and then start to transform the sound, loop it and everything, as we just saw before. So yeah, a very cool way to import sounds. Whatever it is, you can go for vocals, synths, and start to build up anything you want with. Something I found very cool with that is, like in Logic, look at that. If you look for, let's say, MIDI patterns, yeah, so that's a MIDI pattern, right? Doesn't hold any sounds. That's MIDI basically. But look at that. If I bring these chords here, look at what's happened. It transformed that within Logic as a, so I'm on the G4. So this is now an audio file. So yeah, as you could see, the MIDI pattern becomes an audio pattern, right? So that's super cool. Like you could have, like, let's say acid funk. Let's say what this is, and let's bring it here instead. And now we have a loop, which was a MIDI pattern at first. So I mean, this is really one of the cool features. You can do so much. So all right, so I don't want this pad, so clear pads, and I'm gonna clear all the pads basically. So what did I do? I opened what we call this very cool pattern region. So let me open it. So here it goes. So this is the pattern you have, right? So how does it work? So it shows me on the left all the tracks that I have and how you can write your notes. So you have a very easy access to write a note. You see I just slides on it and boom, I have all my note, and same to get rid of them. Very easy. Actually, let's keep those two. And here I can also click on this little arrow and it will show me the first information, which is going to be velocity, so I can move the velocity in a very easy way, or I can repeat the note. So I can have something like I did in the where was that, in the, yeah, this one. That's the hi-hat. So now you go and you do it very soon, very fast, repetitive notes. Let's see, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. You mean, like, this is really insane. The one you want to do your rolling elements. So let's listen to the hi-hats. Is you can also choose the way it's read, right? So I can be going forward. All right, I can go backward, I can go forward and backward when it reaches then backward, or I can be random. And here we go. And obviously I can choose a lot of those parameters. I can add them up, and I have many of those parameters. Super exciting, and we'll cover that in another tutorial, right? So this is what I did. I built up a few sounds, like I think I have 2 or 3 sounds of synths, and the other sounds are drums, right? So let's listen to this drum loop alone. All right, so something very mechanical. This is not very groovy. We can't say that it's super exciting, because I just went in and I draw without even thinking, just draw the whole things like that. Like, I didn't know, actually. It just was fun, like, you know, purely creative, a pattern. I just wanted to draw some stuff and without thinking of what was going to happen. And obviously very soon cued the things, and then I started to mess around with some effects such as the stutter. I did the stutter too. I decided to work in auto, not in MIDI, so I didn't need to trigger it from a MIDI section. I just had to play some patterns and go through, and I started to I selected actually some preset, and then I started to mess around with the LFOs and the different possibilities. And the first thing that I got was this. And the last trick, obviously, the loop operator, which brings the last little movement on the whole thing. So went for also a preset, then I started to add up some informations onto different lines, just checking out how it sounds. And here you go. Very simple. I mean, very simple, right? So I did the same for this one, but I was just a different pattern of drums, which I think is this one that I muted before. Yeah, it was just a little different. I worked with different velocities and different note repetitions, and that's it. And I got a different settings with the loop operator basically, and I got this. Exactly the same process, but the loop operator did the very cool trick here. So that's it. Playing all those things together, it gives us that. So let's play the way I wanted it to come into the track and start to build up like this. So let me bring the kick and the bass. since, as I explained, the kick and the bass are being bounced. Everything is being bounced because plugins are too heavy to be played while I am recording all this, right? So let's just do that. All right, so let's just check what we've done so far. We haven't gone in depth really, just overview what's possible with this performance and drum designer quite quickly. But I think it's interesting to just see that with this few information, you can really understand that you can take this very far and have so much fun with it. So this track is Gaspar and I, and that's gonna be for our new project to come. So check this out. Alright, so this is just a little beginning, so I'll keep you guys up to date with this track, and I'll keep on sending tutorials on this track and on the new features of Logic, showing you how it works and how creative and how it can become as well super intuitive. And Logic has really gave us in this update some super amazing tools. So thank you very much for being with me here, and I'll see you very soon. You guys take care. Bye.